Miss, do you mind if I follow up really quickly? Do you, I hate to put you on the spot, but can you think of an example of a time when you have seen restorative justice like happen, maybe
Mhm.
in your community, so that people can have a kind of some context for that, of what that looks like?
Sure. Well, I can say three general steps of restorative justice involves community building, intervention, and investment. So community building would be beginning to create and develop spaces for the people who have been harmed in a specific situation, to begin to rebuild, right? To develop some type of relationships among one another, so that there is, again, that sense of community. When you begin to chip away at the community, you begin to chip away at growth and health and wholeness and wellness. And it's important to start there first, right? To begin to have the difficult conversations. And to do that openly, honestly, and dare I say, how do I put this? Without ego. Often people say, I'm here to listen, but really their ego is sitting right here. And then that ego tends to block them from actually hearing, because we all know that hearing is different than listening, right? I'm looking around the room, I'm seeing the shaking of the heads. We all know that hearing is different from listening. And it's often that our ego that gets in the way, that stops us from doing that. Because in really hearing what someone says, especially if the people have been wronged, if the people say, here is how I have been wrong, and here is how you personally are culpable, whether directly or indirectly, that is hard to hear.
Dr. Hammonds, do you mind giving those other two steps? I know we had some people in the chat talk about, I know we talked about community building, but if you would review those other two quickly.
Sure, intervention and investment.
Okay.
Yes. So beyond the listening circles and the community building, right? The next step would be intervention. After you've heard what was the wrong, what needs to be fixed or atoned for in some specific way, what then can you do intentionally to atone for that? And then as you begin to figure out what that is and how it can be integrated into the system, investment needs to happen in creating a system that works for the future. You want to give people resources. You want to develop means of allowing that system to flourish and function well past the incident that occurred. And it is important that those things are intentionally done, and it takes time to do that, right? It's not going to be a one shot, okay, we sat down for an hour and now I think I understand and now we're going to go. It takes development and continued listening, and you might even circle back and cycle through steps at times, but it is a process, and it takes patience.